Welcome back to a hobby overview. Today I want to take a deep dive into the topic of diary and short story writing. Here I am presenting three different types of diary. The first diary is the one where you ask yourself what was the feeling over the day and write down three positive things. So this is a great way to reflect your day in a positive way. And trust me, in every day, even if it's a really bad day, you will find three positive things. Even if are really small things, but you will find them. The second type of diary is the one where you ask yourself, what have you done and experienced today? So here you have an opportunity to look back later. Also, it's a great diary as a travel journal. The third diary that you can do is you try to deep reflect and work with yourself without the need of having external confirmation. So the thoughts and feelings in your diary are there just for you. Nobody else will read them. You can get rid of things that keep you from sleeping. So when you have such type of diary, just lay it beside your bed, and when there are thoughts that keeps you awake, just write them briefly into the diary, and in my opinion, give it a try. Perhaps you will sleep better that way. And afterwards, the next day, you can reflect on the thoughts and have them written down without losing them. So that's my three suggestions of diaries that you can write. There are much more types. The modern thing is scrapbooking, for example, or there are other ways how you can do a diary. But this, in my opinion, are three ways that are very beneficial, and you can try them out. Diary writing is a great activity to start with fountain pen writing and have a benefit for yourself. So the other thing I want to present is a short story, or I just want to read it out. If you're not into this type of listening to written stories, then perhaps end the video now. Otherwise, I just want to read out the first two sides of a story that I've written. And it's really fun to write. I've got a good paper here, I've got my fountain pen, and I'm just writing what comes to my mind. In this case, it's a short story that I've written that comes from the background of the computer game Valheim. Valheim is a game where you play as a Viking and do different things. You need material, you can build later on some huts and explore a lot. And from the idea of this computer game, I've written this short story. So I will write it, I will read it out now. The arrival. With the last of his strength, Eirik pulled himself ashore and spat out the salty water that had sloshed into his mouth. The storm still raged over him, but far less than when the proud Viking ship of his clan had been tossed to and fro like a cue ball in the wind. When the hull of the ship gave way and handed him and his comrades over to the water, he had not expected to reach shore alive, but Odin must have had even greater things in store for him. Miraculously, currents had driven him to a shore. His strong survival instinct and the piece of plank from the ship that Eirik had clung to may have helped to save him. But Eirik was sure that this was a sign from his gods, and so he had to survive no matter what. That was his duty, for he was now a chosen one. Eirik would never hope to see his comrades, his family, or his wife again. He was now a new person in his beliefs, with a new task. But all of these thoughts did not help him at the moment, because his teeth were shattering loudly from the cold. His new only thoughts was to get out of this water. When he had been surprised by the storm in his sleep, he had no time to grab tools or anything else. The storm had struck like a hammer blow, and only a few minutes later Eirik was already in the water. This meant that he only was wearing a linen shirt and his linen trousers, which now, wet and already thin material, offered no protection whatsoever against the cold that was penetrating Eirik's limbs. So he quickly took off his wet clothes and wrung the water out of the fabric. A fire was needed, otherwise he would not survive for long. So Eirik set off from the wet beach in search of shelter from the rain and dry wood. The adventure has begun. The first day. Eirik became increasingly aware that someone must be watching over him, as he found a small natural cave not far from the beach. Here some massive boulders had formed a natural roof. However, the rocks had come to form this natural formation. Eirik was grateful for the shelter from the weather, and the best thing about the small cave was that there was also some driftwood, which had apparently been lying there for a long time and was bone dry. It would work to start a fire, but there was a lot of work ahead. Eirik was careful not to get the wood wet. He sorted the pieces that lay under the rocks according to size and dryness. So this was a short example what a short story can start with, and I've much more of the story that I've written down, and it goes along, I think at the moment that are 10 chapters or something like that, but I have much more of this type of stories, and I really like when something like a computer game inspires me to write something like this. Sometimes it's just a miniature figure that I look at and it gives me the idea to write something, and it's always a fun thing to do for me, just to be creative and write something down like this. Yeah, I hope this video perhaps encourages you to test it out yourself. Not everyone is a writer, but if you write for yourself, everything is right, in my opinion. So have fun writing short stories, have fun doing the diary that fits best for you. Thank you for watching to this point, and bye.